Welcome back, everybody. So I've been talking about mental health for as long as I've been doing this show because I find it to be critical. It's indispensable for the success of any human being to have a sense of how we feel on the inside. It's what I've dedicated my life to doing. It's what this show is about, at least in part. We don't do therapy on the show, but what we do is try to lift people up, bring us to a better place, a better way of being in the world. And so, you know, I told you at the opening of the show, I've been watching some of Oprah's special that she has on Apple TV. And so I figured tonight, let's have this conversation and let's have it with someone who knows the journey and who's created a platform to help us, you know, feel better. She's the founder and CEO of MentalHappy, the one and only Miss Tamar Blue. Hey, Miss Tamar.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
It is my absolute pleasure to have you here tonight. I cannot thank you enough for talking about this and bringing this to us tonight. Your contribution is already anticipated. Your greatness is already assumed. Your light is already shining. Because this is so critical. I want to talk about your journey and your platform, but before I do that, I want to get to know your soul a little bit, get to know how you think and how you feel. So let's have a few aha moments together.
Okay, great.
All right, Miss Tamar. Tell me all the things right now in your life that you absolutely love. Give me your love list, because I love a list. So what's your love list?
Oh.
I see you thinking, look at you, I love it.
My love list.
Your love list.
Naps are top of my love list right now. Just trying to practice slowing down. Definitely all the things that we teach at mentalhappy.com. So naps is on the top. Now that we can, eating with friends and family, again, top of my love list. I miss that. Cooking and eating, and I come from a Haitian Caribbean background, so that's one thing I've missed over the last year. And do I have anything on my love list? Because it's June, and again, with my West Indies Caribbean background, mangoes are also on my love list.
No, I love all of that, especially naps, because I think there's some things God will give you in a nap that you just can't get no other way. It's a nap. A nap will change your life.
That's the truth. It will. It'll make you forget your problems. It'll change situations for you. It'll help you solve problems. Naps are great.
Tell me something that most people don't know about you.
Most people don't know about me. You know, I think with the line of work I do, I get asked this a lot. So I'm assuming that a lot of people think the opposite. But I'm often asked, you know, do I regularly practice things that we teach on the platform? So do I do yoga? Do I meditate? They think as a founder and a CEO, I'm just super hyper and busy and I'm always working all the time and I'm just go, go, go. And that is so not the case. I am definitely more slower paced. I take my time with things. I do practice meditation and yoga and prayer every single day, every single morning. And I just enjoy those things.
No, I think it's great. This question I can only ask to someone who's in your line of work, because most people probably wouldn't get what I was trying to do. So I'm gonna ask it to you. Describe yourself in colors.
Describe myself in colors.
Yeah, in colors.
Purple.
Love it.
The first color. White is probably the other color. And blue.
Why purple, why white, and why blue?
You know, purple is often signified with like a very royal color. It's also representative, like the third eye, which is representative of wisdom, which I live by. I think wisdom is, I think wisdom is like the foundation of just the amazing parts of our human existence, white? Which is instincts. and white because it's clean, it's nice. I like things to be organized and pristine, and that definitely is my personality.
Okay, I got to ask you about blue now because the other two were so fascinating. Why blue?
You know, when I was a little kid, I was very firm on I don't want to just pick pink as a color because girls are expected to
Mm.
like pink. So I started like painting with blue and coloring with blue and wearing blue things. I didn't want to be a typical, you know, all girls like pink.
I'm so glad I asked you that question. I never asked anybody to describe themselves in colors. I'm gonna start using that more because that was
Yeah.
so informative as to some of the things that make you up. I know this.
Yeah.
You have dedicated your life to helping people. You've dedicated your life to moving people from one mental space and phase to another. Tell me why that's so important to you. Like out of all the things you could be doing with your life, why are
Yeah.
you doing this?
I am obsessed with the human experience. I think there are so many things
Okay, that got
that
me.
are innate within us in terms of the resilience, in terms of how we love, how we create. And sometimes when life events happen, whether it's injury, illness, divorce, you know, caring for someone, or just all of the life events, right? We get lost and we lose
Mm.
track of what could really be a beautiful human experience. And I'm just really obsessed with helping people, not so that they don't have those experiences, because you do learn a lot in those experiences, but to get back on track and find your purpose again from those experiences.
Okay, that was probably one of the best things I've heard today. You know,
Thanks.
Tiffany said some things, and that was some of the best things. But to
She
say that,
did.
yeah, but to say that I'm obsessed with the human experience is literally one of the best things I've heard today. Oh my people! I'm
Thank
just
you.
saying. I mean, out of all the things to be obsessed with, I would that all of us would be obsessed rather, with the human experience, because that's the one that we're having. When we come back,
Right.
I'm gonna ask Tamar to take us into her journey with mental health. What does she know about it, not just as a person who helps people, but from the inside? Because I firmly believe, I don't know, but I firmly believe that her moral authority doesn't come from books. It comes from the human experience. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to the founder and the CEO of MentalHappy, Miss Tamar Blue, and she's here tonight. And I've asked her to come because I'm committed to people feeling better. I'm committed rather to us living better and thinking better. I'm tired. I don't know about you, but I'm just tired of Miss Blue, Sister Blue. I'm just tired of, just the shallow, superficial, the way the
Yeah.
digital cultures turn just so gossipy and just messy. And I just
Yeah.
want something, and that's why I do this show, that's going to remind our people and all people of what really matters. I know this matters to
Right.
you. Mental health matters to you. And I promised everybody I would ask you, what's your journey with mental health? What's your story as it relates to this?
Yeah, so of course, being a person of color, being a Black woman, I grew up in a household where we didn't talk about mental health. You know, I never learned the words like anxiety or depression. I suffered from panic attacks for over a decade, and most of my 20s were just these very violent panic attacks that would hit me in the middle of the night, in the
Mm.
middle of the day, just for no reason, and I couldn't explain it. And you know, the panic attacks hit a hiatus when I hit a high point when I, you know, just ended a very bad and toxic relationship. My career was just kind of going sideways at the time, and it just became unmanageable. And I became I became less in the pain of the panic attacks and anxieties, and focusing on that, and more focused on, okay, I desperately want to feel better.
Mm.
And like your guest previously said, you know, you want a name for the thing so that you can at least move forward and address it. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been on one side where I can afford mental health insurance and services. And I've also been on the other side of the spectrum where I couldn't afford it. And on either side, there's a lot of problems and gaps. On the side where when I could afford it, it became very difficult to get an appointment. My therapist would schedule me 6 to 8 weeks out. She would say, oh, just journal or, practice yoga or meditation, go on walks. And she would give me all these assignments to do in lieu of the appointment because it was just such a strong gap. And then there were times where I couldn't afford it because the sessions were about $200 an hour.
Wow.
So in thinking about my own personal journey and my own family history and not really having enough language within my own culture to name the thing, I decided that, there just has to be a change. If these things that the therapist did tell me I can do from home, why isn't this something that therapists teach people on a more frequent basis for way less money?
Yeah. You're really tapping into something that's very powerful. And it's not, this platform tonight, this conversation that we're having tonight is one of the few times that I've actually heard this talked about publicly. And that being that therapy has become a privilege of the wealthy, of those who have access to health care, and those who have jobs. So while it is true, and just correct me if I'm wrong, affirm me if I'm right, while it is true that all of us should be talking to somebody, only a few of us can afford it or have access to it.
Yeah, and the access isn't just because of a wealth gap. The access is also due to a capacity gap in the amount of health professionals that are even licensed and available in the United States. Currently, there's only 30 licensed psychologists for every 100,000 people in the United States.
Wow.
And currently, the US Census Bureau said that a third of Americans now are experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression on a clinical level. So
Tamar,
there's the money gap.
Tamar, it's more than that.
But then there's also, and that's just the people willing to check the box.
That's right.
And say, yes, there are people who never took the census. And there are people, who were once like us, right? Like we didn't have the language to even name the thing. So it's far more than that.
Yeah, listen, I've flown on planes lately. I've been in airports lately. I was standing in the airport in Atlanta, Miss Blue, and ironically, I was in a long line that I didn't need to be in because I was in first class, but I didn't know it was the wrong line. And while I'm in the line, I start looking at people's faces in the line, and then it's Atlanta, so mostly black folks in the line and white folks. And you could see the stress, the tension, the anxiety. I could see it on people's faces. And I thought to myself, America, we had better do something quickly because people are on the edge of something catastrophic if we don't. You have created this platform in part to help us have access to what we need. So talk to me about this digital platform and tell everybody what it is, because you're not just complaining about the problem, you're doing something about it to fix it.
Yeah, thank you. So MentalHappy has been around for over 4 years now. MentalHappy.com is a digital mental health platform. It's online, and we're really on a mission to make mental health resources accessible, affordable, and more importantly, stigma-free. And in particular for people, Black, people of color, and men. So many platforms disenfranchise Black people, people of color, and men in particular. A lot of the sites are tailored towards women. Rich white women is the syndrome that I like to call it. And it just doesn't meet their needs. What we offer at mentalhappy.com is a safe space where people can participate in these positive peer support groups that are focused on the life events that they're experiencing. So maybe you are going through a divorce. Maybe you are in a position where you're stressed out because you are someone's caregiver and you're looking for ways to also take care of them, but also take care of yourself. Maybe you were diagnosed with a very scary injury. Perhaps you just can't explain, what you're feeling and why you're sad and why you're going through these emotions. You can find these individual siloed groups with other people who understand what you're experiencing, so that you can also work to better yourself and not hurt anybody else in the process. We also, on top of offering these low cost, and some of them are even free peer support groups, we also offer free health resources online as well. All of the peer support groups are led by expert health professionals and wellness professionals.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I love the fact that it is accessible, and it's a platform that, you know, if you have a phone or a computer or some kind of way to access digital space, you can get to it. You don't have to wait 6 weeks, you know, for your therapist to sort of let you in. I got to take this break, but when we come back, I want to ask Tamar, as she has learned it and understand it, what's the difference between being happy and being joyful? The difference between being sad and being depressed? Because a lot of us may think we're sad, but we're really more depressed, and we need to know the difference. And so, you know, when we come back, we're gonna help each other. We're gonna figure this out, because I refuse to let you go. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Tamar Blue, and she is the founder and the CEO. Black women are bossing up, I'm just telling you. Of MentalHappy. That's the other reason I just love having you on. I love saying founder and CEO to a black woman.
It's nice to hear.
It just does something from a spirit, just to see, because this world has never loved little black girls. It has never honored little black girls, but it's starting to finally realize that it cannot turn without you. And that's
right.
So don't get me started.
We're a force.
I'm just saying. I'm ready. So listen. What's the difference between? Because I think people want to know this, and I know it, but I want other people to know it. What's the difference between being happy and being joyful? But more importantly, the difference between being sad and depressed. Start with sad and depressed, because I think that's where we can put our finger on something.
Yeah, so sad and depression, I think, is the one that people get the most judgment on when they are a clinically depressed person. On the outside, we can just assume, you know, they should just cheer up. Maybe they should have more gratitude in their lives. It's not that bad. But depression is oftentimes related to chemical imbalances. It lasts longer. It can be a thing where there's no external hurt or pain that someone can see on the outside. They're literally just verbalizing how they feel. And sadness it's temporary. It's a momentary thing. It's a reaction to it's a behavioral reaction to something.
Yeah.
So that's the fundamental, you know, in my opinion, the two differences.
Yeah. No, that's good, because I would say that being sad is situational, right? You know, something bad happens and you're sad. You lose somebody, you're sad. You lose a job, you're sad. You know, you stop eating pizza for a while. In my case, you're sad.
Sad.
But depression is when it's exactly what you said. When there is no event that triggers it, it lingers. It is persistent. It is a condition. And it needs to be diagnosed. And I'm so glad that you created this platform for people to come and to have conversation and to be monitored by professionals, and obviously get other referrals. Tell me what we get wrong about mental health, because, you know, I think people are talking about it now more and more, but we still get a lot of things wrong. So what are we still getting wrong?
What I believe people are still getting wrong when it comes to mental health is that it is solely just an illness or a disease. People, in my opinion, can have mental health episodes. They can have and experience emotional decline during multiple times in their life. It's something that we will all experience. If you keep doing this thing called living, you will experience some type of emotional and mental health decline. And it could be tied to a life event, or it could just be tied to an imbalance, your diet, lack of sleep, dehydration. but it is something that we will all experience, and we have all experienced, but we're maybe just not admitting it.
Yeah, that's so rich. I have to ask you tonight about Naomi Osaka, who's the tennis player who decided to pull out of the French Open or Roland Garros, because of she wanted to protect her mental health. As you heard about that, I'm assuming you heard about it. As you heard about it, what did you think about her pulling out and how she was treated, or how she was not treated?
I don't know the story in depth, I will say, but I did hear about it. I think anytime, someone says, I think what I did notice about the story is just the amount of backlash post the announcement of backing out, and how people were, fans were upset and angry. We talk about mental health so much, but when someone actually takes the actions of doing the tasks to support it, we prioritize other things such as sport and entertainment above someone's humanity. And when I heard that is very disheartening.
I love that. Because when you were talking, I was just, you and I are simpatico, because when you were talking, I was just thinking to myself, what we've done is we privilege the entertainment factor and totally degraded their humanity. She's a tennis player, but she's a human being.
She's a human being.
She's a human being
having a human experience.
Yeah. And so look, her capacity to entertain us does not supersede her capacity to live and live well. How about that?
Right. Right. For a long time, she needs to live well past her years she needs her mental health beyond tennis.
Yeah.
Period.
I so affirm what you're doing, because I just find it to be so important. You said something tonight that I don't think I'll ever forget. You said tonight that our mental health, it's always changing, and we need to be aware that you can have many episodes of mental health. I think a lot of people just think it's a straight trajectory. You go up and you get better. That's not how it works. Listen, give me a real short answer to this question. Real short. What are you glad about in your life right now?
What am I glad about in my life right now? I would say the foundation in marriage and commitment that I found in my life partner, my husband, is probably what I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, that's a hell of an answer. Congratulations. I celebrate that for you. Listen, thank you for tuning in, everybody. I want to thank Tiffany Vincent. I want to thank Miss Blue, who is the founder and CEO of Mental Happiness. People, what a great show tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all be good to each other. And remember, I love you. And I really mean it. How about that?